day to you, my friends. Welcome to another Fast and Fun Friday Run series, where in this video I'll be talking about how to structure your training plan. And with these hints and tips, if you're not following these, you really are missing out. Let's go. Oh yes, my name is Donato and welcome to today's Fast and Fun Friday Run series about how we go structuring these training plans. If you do find any of this useful, and please do give it a thumbs up and leave some comments below. I'd like to hear how you go about structuring your training plans. But also, I'd really appreciate your support in buying me a coffee. Yes, if you do find this useful in any way and it's helped you in any way, as well as leaving the comments below, why not buy me a coffee? There's a link below, coffee.com/Donato, and you can help buy my next latest and greatest thing that I can talk about on this show. So yes, without further ado, let's go on to structuring our training plans. Yeah, how to structure your training plan, which for those of you who've been following for quite a while, I really do appreciate coming back each and every Friday and watching these. And if you are new, please do consider subscribing and click on that link down in the corner there, or is it the corner there? It's one of those corners. Click on that and I'd really appreciate your support in that. So yes, how do we go about structuring a good training plan? And this, I could talk for probably hours and hours and days, but I'd like to condense this in a succinct and hopefully in a format that for me, sometimes I look at things, and I've looked at my training plans over the past years and look at a certain pattern and found that there is a particular science behind it. So let's talk about how we can structure those training plans. Yeah. So yes, as much as we all like to just go out each and every day or every other day and do some training, or maybe for some people they just go out once a week and just go out and do stuff, and we like to expect to get better. And as a beginner or novice, as I've found, you can almost do anything and you will get better. Yeah, that's right. We can almost just go out every day, every other day, and just do some a bit of running, cycling, whatever, and our fitness will continue to go up and increase, because that's what happens when we're novices or beginners. But what happens when we plateau? What happens when we get to a certain level, or maybe we'd like to add a bit of structure? And that's what I'd like to talk about here. And I may even refer to a bit of my notes. Yeah, so because there's all sorts of things that people talk about, and sciences, and we could go on forever. And there's words like macronosis, micronosis, and all this type of stuff. You can Google it, and words like periodization and all that, and yet you can Google all this type of stuff. I'll put my notes back down. You can Google all this type of stuff, and it can often be a bit confusing, but should we really be using Dr. Google to do that? Well, I'll summarize it in a simple way, where to structure our training plan, there's a few key things that we need to do. Firstly is, what's your goal race that you're aiming for? So put that in your diary of what goal race you're going for, and have that as a particular goal that you're aiming for. But at the same time, when you are setting those goals, to keep it realistic and achievable. And that really depends how and where you're starting at right now. What is your current base level of fitness? But there are three things that we should be looking at in terms of before we start that, and that is, as I mentioned, where are you at? What is your current level of fitness? What distance are you training for? Yeah, what distance are you going for? Is it a 5k, 10k, half marathon, marathon, ultra? And the key thing is, what available time do you have during the week? Yeah, and put those availabilities of times into your diary, calendar, or whatever. And for me, the way I log this, some people use paper-based diaries and so on. For me, I use a spreadsheet. I mean, that's my day job. I use spreadsheets, so I'm comfortable using spreadsheets. So I'll plan out, and you may have seen my previous plan running up to the Chicago Marathon. It was just a spreadsheet printed out, and I would write down the bits and pieces of training that I would do on there and plan that out over that period of time. So when we have that goal race, we then work backwards based on what I call the periodization, and I'll go through that now in terms of how we break that down. Yeah. So I've mentioned that word periodization, and I say you can Google that and it comes up. There's all sorts of athlete types thing, and I've looked at my plans and they tend to work in like 4-week blocks. Yeah, 4-week blocks. And there's 4 sections in terms of the periodization where we go through in terms of the preparation, the base phase, the build phase and the peak phase. So there's 4 phases and 4-week blocks. So is it any coincidence when I look at my training plans that they are 16 weeks? You can throw in 20 weeks if you want to, but those first 4 weeks is really getting things moving, preparation, base training. So 16 weeks working back from your goal race. So if you have a date, work back 16 weeks, and that's when the training actually starts. Now if you've got more time, then great. You can start now and just start doing the first stage of the periodization, which I call the preparation, you know, in terms of prepping ourselves. So normally the preparation comes from that we've had a bit of rest, yeah, from the last race that we've done. So we have a good rest time, and yeah, we're now getting into prepare. So we want to get back to the fitness that we had before. So it's just a few key runs, easy runs, just to get things going, get the legs moving and get our base back and get that level of fitness back. And that's what I call the preparation in terms of the block that we've started. So once you're prepared and you've got your legs moving and everything's going super duper, I say around 4 weeks, if you've had more time, then you can do that more time and you can maybe bring things a little bit more forward and doing that type of stuff there. So that's our first phase, preparation. Yeah. So the second phase is base planning. Yes, and as the word mentions, it's all about the base, and I've mentioned this on many videos. Base training is essential. This is where we get our aerobic base up to the level that we want before we start hitting some of the hard sessions. Yeah. So base training, it's all about the base, working at aerobic fitness, getting the training in there to do the aerobic fitness training plan. Yeah. I think I've said the word aerobic a few times, yeah. So it's easy runs, easy runs. That's what builds your aerobic base, yeah. Easy runs, short easy runs, and you can start progressing with the longer easy runs, yeah. So that's the base training part. And the key thing with each of these sections, as it's 4 weeks, we tend to have a 3 weeks where we build up in terms of the volume, and then the 4th week where we taper back or reduce the amount to allow for the recovery. And essentially that's needed on all of the blocks. So for each of the 4-week blocks, we have 3 going up and up and up, and then the 4th one we go down, yeah? I'll do a nice graph or whatever, but I think you get the picture. Maybe I should do a picture, I don't know. So we've done the preparation, we've done the base, yeah? And we're now getting into the build. This is the real tough, this is the sharp end of the actual training plan. The build, this is where we're gonna build in terms of where we do the specifics in terms of race paces, tempo runs, threshold runs, hill repeats. This is where we really do give that the build. I say it's a 4-week period, so 3 weeks building up again, and then the 4th week taper back. It's really essential that we do follow that pattern, because that enables our body to adapt and phase, and I'll talk more towards the end about how that is with all the 4 phases, of which the 4th phase, the final phase, is the peak phase. And this is one that is really important, and probably the most important, because this is where we come into taper. So we've done that great build, and we now need to allow the body to start to rest a little so that we arrive fit, fresh and ready for that race that we've planned for, but also to maintain some of that fitness that we've done in that build phase. Now we may lose a little, but we don't want to keep it too high that we end up getting to the race fatigued and tired, but also not get there too rested that we haven't got enough to get. So it's getting the right balance, yeah? How that works for each of us, we're all different, but again, over a 4-week period, we can basically just taper it down slowly and gently. And everybody has different types of tapering, where they do a sharp taper, a short taper, or a long taper. It's everybody's different, so find a taper that works for you, that gets you there to that race day in peak performance, hence why it's called the peak phase. Yeah, no flies on me, eh? So hopefully, guys and gals, that's helped you do what you need to do in terms of help your preparation for your training plan. I'd love to hear from you guys. Leave some comments below how you go about doing your preparations for your training plan and what kind of training plans you follow. So in summary, whatever the 4 phases, whether it be the preparation, the base, build or peak, the 4 weeks, it is really essential to allow those 3 weeks of grow and then that recovery is to allow our body to adapt, because when we do the running and the training, that is the stimulus to our body, but the key essential thing is the correct recovery after that stimulation, because if we haven't recovered correctly, then our body won't be ready for the next session. The whole purpose of the stimulus is to have that recovery time and get us ready for the next one to take us up that next level. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. I'd love to hear from you, and as I mentioned at the beginning, if you are new and you haven't yet subscribed, then please do click on that little icon up there and subscribe to this channel. Maybe help me contribute to my next pizza. And if you want to catch up on all the latest Fast and Fun Friday Run series, click on that link up there and enjoy. And I look forward to seeing you at next Friday for another Fast and Fun Friday Run series. Yeah. Bye bye. Be seeing you.